Hello and welcome back to Behind the Brief, the podcast where we go beyond the buzzwords and into the real stories behind great marketing and leadership. Today's episode is one of those conversations that just flows, raw, real, and packed with honest reflections. I am joined by Daria, someone I deeply respect, not just for her work in the GTM world, but for the way she thinks. We talk about what it means to truly collaborate, what success looks like when multiple teams are involved, and how figuring out who you are, especially in a fast-paced, sometimes intimidated tech world, plays into all of it. Whether you are leading go-to-market, navigating imposter syndrome, or just trying to bring back your full self to work, I think this one is for you. Thank you so much, Daria, for coming on my show. Welcome.
Hi, Shruti. Thank you very much. I'm so happy that we finally met. We had a little bit of hiccups on the way to record, but I'm so happy that it's happening. And I'm really excited for this conversation, for all the topics.
Yeah, and I'm so glad. So let's start with the GTM side of things. So, Daria, you have led and seen GTM in so many forms. What would you say are the absolute fundamentals to a successful go-to-market motion?
I think it may sound cheesy, what I'm going to say, but I would say the alignment is the crucial part of successful go-to-market motion. But in my opinion, it has to go from top down. So if you work as just a marketing manager, maybe even if you are head of marketing and you are maybe trying to get aligned with the head of sales and maybe head of customer success, but at the same time, the management board itself is not aligned and all of them have a different idea of what business we're making and what are the business goals we want to achieve. And they are responsible for different parts of the company, of different departments. And CTO has a different idea and CPO has another one. And then there is CMO and they also think something different. If these guys don't get aligned and it doesn't go top down, then you have multiple different companies within one company, in fact. And in this scenario, it's really hard to be successful because everybody is going maybe a little bit different direction. The product is building product for a different audience than the marketing is marketing for, and then the sales is selling to totally different guys. So when you think about that, I think that's, as I said, maybe cheesy, but without that, it doesn't make sense to do anything else like move forward. You won't move forward in an effective way if you don't start with this.
Right. So you have seen any patterns where teams keep making these mistakes repeatedly whenever it comes to GTM?
Yes, many times. I think at every organization I worked with, it was the case that even at some points it felt like just blame game and working in many silos versus working as a one team. Sometimes I say that you have only one go-to-market team. You have different departments, but they create your one go-to-market team, and you have a product team, marketing team, sales team, customer success, customer support, you have the management board, but all of them have to be treated like one team that have goals that are connected. And that's the thing that I witnessed the most, disconnected goals. So every department would have some goals that are related to go-to-market.
Right.
But at the same time, they were so disconnected that, for instance, the product team had the goal to build something or increase adoption of some particular part of the product. At the same time, the sales had a goal to reach quota for some specific audience, and it was disconnected. Like these were two different things. So it was really tough to have one vision that's unified. And I think this is the biggest mistake that I saw repeatedly. And also, as I said, this blame game. So instead of focusing on what is not working in general and how we can fix it and how everybody can contribute to that. So what can we do from the product side to fix it? What can we maybe tweak in the marketing strategy? What can we do in sales and so on? The teams are like, oh, we didn't do this company. We didn't do this campaign with the results that we hoped for because the product didn't deliver. So we didn't have anything interesting to communicate about. Then the sales says, oh, we didn't hit our quota because marketing didn't generate enough leads. And instead of thinking of we are one team and we have goals that are usually at company level, you have company level goals, and then it normally should go top down. So from this revenue goal, how we translate that into the goals for the product team, for the sales team, for the marketing team, for customer success. So instead of doing that, it's just looking at these teams individually and rarely connecting them to the top goal. And this is what is the most painful. And it's nasty sometimes. It's not nice to work in such environment. It's nothing that would make you feel motivated to show up at work every day, because you feel that, no, like, I will go to this meeting again and then I will be blamed on something, and then somebody else will be blamed by me, and it is not going to help anyone to succeed.
So, do you help teams fix that as well? Because this is, I think, the most commonly made mistakes while handling GTM and trying to bridge that gap. It's very difficult to bring all the different perspectives from the team members and tell them you're wrong and you need to align on these goals. Do you help them do that, or like you just try and not try to fix that environment?
Yeah, I would say that I'm very idealistic. So I always try to help that. I always try to drive alignment between the teams and make them understand that you are not enemies. You need to be a team. You need to work together. Like, even now in my current role, I'm a director of product marketing at a company, TransEU, and we have a leadership team. And it's so refreshing for me at the moment. I had my first leadership meeting not long ago, and I left this meeting and I said to my boss, that was so refreshing. Nobody was fighting with anyone. We're just discussing the goals that we have and how every team can contribute to reaching them, versus, playing this blame game. So I believe that making the management board more aware, and as I said, it's going top down. So if you work on this level, if you have executive buy-in, and if the CEO is aware of that, and they usually want to fix that because they know what will be the benefit of doing so. So I always try to get this executive buy-in and show it as a priority. So whenever I'm working with companies and they say, for example, we have a problem with product launches. So our product launch process is really bad, or it doesn't exist. So can you look into it? And I look into it, but I don't look only into like product marketing piece. I don't look only into like the specific product launch campaign piece, but in general. And then I reveal things like, nobody knows what's your product strategy at the company. Do you even have one? Like, you are building product, you have a roadmap, but do you know who you are building for, and what is the long-term goal for you, for your company and for your teams? So I usually try to have this bird's eye perspective and holistic approach to showing the teams that it's not like product marketing is failing, like they don't know how to lead launches, or the sales team is not selling. It's all connected. So it starts with the management and how they deal with leading the teams in the way that they understand where we're going and why we're all doing this.
Exactly.
And then what is the role of every team in this process? That's why I say it's go-to-market process that is encapturing all the teams. So it's not only about sales. It's not only about marketing. It starts with the ideation stage of the product development. So whenever you come up with an idea of building a new product or new feature, this is where your go-to-market starts, in fact, and that everything what happens next, it's still your go-to-market process. So when you cannot look at it in isolation. Like, you cannot take one piece, like cut it out and look only on this one piece and try to fix it and make it perfect if your other pieces just don't fit.
But I do have a follow-up question on that. When things don't work the way you want them to, how do you reset or just get back the alignment you previously had? So how do you work on that thing? How do you reset it?
Yeah, so usually at the beginning of my engagement or collaboration with a company, I start with a go-to-market process gap analysis. And this is the time where I'm able to reveal those things. And show the connections and dependencies. So in this way, as I said, like, we're not only focusing on what is not working in product marketing, what is not working in sales, but what is not working in our go-to-market motion and our go-to-market process in general. And I usually work with the management board. So they make it a company problem. It's not a marketing problem. It's not a sales problem. It's not a customer success or product problem. It's our company business problem. And from this perspective, as I said, when I show them this holistic process, so I draw like a graph, and then everybody is there. And then you see what is today working, what is not working in the process, and where we're failing today and how we can fix that. So then in this way, we're able to pinpoint the biggest pain points that we have today as an organization and then try to solve for them. And as I said, like the most common ones that I see is the lack of real product strategy. And sometimes even if there is, it's not communicated well. So if for me, it's communicated well if when you ask a random person at the company, it should be even outside of the go-to-market teams, but let's stick to the go-to-market teams. So if you ask a random person, what is our product strategy? Like, why are we building this? What is our mission? They are able to answer, and these answers are consistent. So you don't get 40 different answers if you ask 40 different people, and I don't know is not the answer that you're hoping for. So that's one problem that I see. Another one is this cross-functional alignment. And for that, I started implementing something that I call internal partnership agreements. And in the past, I used to call it internal SLA, so service level agreements.
Okay.
But then I understood that it's not about a service done from one team to another. It's about a partnership because we are kind of like partners in crime in this business, and we need to work together to achieve those common goals. And I believe that by definition, when you are thinking about partnership, everybody has to have some benefits. It's not like one side is only serving someone, but both sides are having some responsibilities, but at the same time, they also have benefits of being in this partnership. So that's something that is helping a lot because all the gray areas are just removed. Everything is on paper because I always aim at having that in a written form so everybody can get back to it. Sometimes I would get this objection from teams like, oh, but it's so formal. We don't work like this. It sounds like signing a contract with someone and we are very informal. We're like very startup-like, even if they are not a startup anymore. I always say, yes, that's great, but how can you get back to what you agreed for? And even if it's a situation that you get sick or I know you're changing a job, somebody else is coming to cover for you or is joining a company, it's so much easier to just share with them a document and show them. So this is how we work. We can revise that. So that's something that is making everything much easier. And another thing that is very helpful is regular communications. So regular check-ins between heads of departments, leadership meetings. I think this is the part where many companies are missing out, that they don't have leadership meetings, meaning there is board meeting.
Busy. Yeah.
Everybody's busy. And maybe there is a meeting between head of sales and head of marketing, maybe a meeting between head of marketing and head of customer success. But there are no meetings where all of them sit in one room, even if it's a virtual room, for 1 hour, even once a quarter, to discuss the most important things, to make sure that we're aligned, that we are going in the same direction. And this is something that I think is very helpful.
Yeah, I think it just all comes down to that one document, right? You can call it a playbook, you can call it anything that ultimately gives anybody to kickstart from where the team is currently at and how to take that forward. I think it's not about how formal it is or how, but it's about the process, right? The system that you have built. When I was working as a full-time product marketer, I led GTM for a very technical product, did the research and everything till launching the product. So I was asked by the director of GTM. So all the steps, all the processes actually converted into a playbook. So that's what it is, right? You make systems, you build those, and then you move forward, and then there's somebody who uses that. So I think that's how you keep the momentum running in GTM as well. I think that's a really good advice that you have mentioned.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, one more thing is that we need to understand that what we are doing as some team is also influencing what other people are doing. So I always give this advice that when we look at RASI metrics, so responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed, when you have the informed row, everybody should be there. I always put all. So to make sure that you maybe don't want to ask everybody about their opinion on something. You don't want them to be involved fully in the project because it's not needed. You need to prioritize that, but you need to make sure that they understand what is happening. And this is a point where many teams are failing about this. Like I understand they're busy and they're so focused on what they're working on, they forget about this piece that other folks also need to know what is happening. Maybe they're doing something similar. Maybe we're helping them, or maybe we are making something more difficult for them because of what you are doing. So this is something that is crucial from my perspective.
Absolutely. I just want to shift gears a little bit because in the last conversation that we had, you very precisely mentioned about you speaking to a career coach and how it helped you. What would you like to say to the folks who are confused right now in their career and uncertain in the current market as well?
Thank you for this question. Yeah, we discussed that. And it's a topic that I discussed with many people recently because I recommend that to everybody who feels maybe a little bit lost in what they're doing. So, yes, I worked with a career coach for a few months. I approached her, I think last year around summertime. And I told her at our first session, I don't know who I am professionally. I said, if you go to my LinkedIn, you won't even know what I'm doing at the moment, like who I'm working with. I didn't even add that information because I don't know how to call it. And I don't know if it's okay. I just had a lot of, I don't even know how to call it, like fear maybe. Yeah, I was like uncertain about what is happening. And I also told her that I want to build my personal brand a little bit more. I want to post more regularly on LinkedIn. But I have this issue that I feel that, like my personal brand tone and voice are not polished, that I don't know how to create them, that I felt like I need to have some strategy behind. Maybe it also comes from the place that, I'm a marketer after all, even though, like, hello, we are not marketers, but. And it felt like, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it in a professional way, right? Because what does it say about me if I don't do it in a professional way? And I remember that at this first session, my career coach, Carolina, she said, if it feels authentic to you, you won't have any problem with sharing that, with doing that, with saying it. And I felt like, yeah, maybe, it felt like, okay, Sherlock, great advice. But then we worked together for a few months. And at our last session, I told her, you were right. Now I felt like it is what I feel is right for me and it's authentic and it's just me. And it changed everything. Even though nothing really changed, to be honest. Like I kept doing the same things and I was working in the same way, but my mindset changed. And I didn't have a problem with calling myself like who I am. But at the same time, this freeing thought that I don't have to be one thing. So at the beginning, I struggled with, this positioning bias that you have to be specifically called that I am a ABC for XYZ that solves some specific problems. And I really tried to stick to it and name it and be very specific about it. And then during my work with the career coach, I discovered like I don't have to be one thing. I can do different things. I don't have to decide if I want to work full-time with some company or if I want to be a consultant. Maybe I can do both and I don't have to choose. So that's what I went with at the end, that I'm just doing different things with the maybe a little bit of my work life philosophy, that if it feels right, it means that it's for me. And that's the rule that I'm living by this year.
Right.
And that if it feels right, I'm going to do it. And if it doesn't, if it, makes me feel like this ache in my stomach, then I am listening more to what my body is telling me. So if I have a reaction like, like I have maybe a stomach ache or I don't feel well about something or like maybe sad, I let myself be in those feelings because they tell me something. While in the past, I tried to be more like, just let's be energetic and excited about everything and it's going to be great. And now I'm like, maybe it's not going to be great. I don't know. But if it sounds interesting, then it's okay.
Right.
And I gave myself permission to make mistakes, and that's fine. Like if I make a mistake, it's okay. It's a lesson. And another thing that I did with my career coach, but also with the PMM camp led by Tamara. So we had a workshop with goal setting for this year. And this is the first time ever when I really consciously set my goals for my personal and my professional life together. So it was an interesting experience because in the past, I would have some idea of what I want to do in my personal life. and what I want to achieve in my professional life, although now not at this level as I am conscious about it now, but still it was always like two separate buckets.
Yeah.
And
It was
now,
never aligned.
no, it
Yeah.
was like, again, not like two silos, basically. Like, this is my personal life, this is my professional life. I don't mix them. I have work-life balance, blah, blah, blah. And now I feel like I have this work-life harmony. So what I'm doing professionally has to align with who I am as a person and what I want in life as Daria, as a person. And that changed a lot. Because now when I'm making career decisions, I'm looking at my goals and my values, and I have them written down in my notebook with pen and paper. And I really go there every time I need to make some important decision. And I'm going through the set of my values and my goals. And I'm asking myself, is it aligned with my values? Is it aligned with my goals?
Right.
And if it's not, then I just say no. I don't have this feeling of, oh, but maybe I'm missing out on something. Maybe I am, but maybe I'm missing out on something I don't want.
Right.
And that's fine. And when we're talking about goals, I also gave myself permission to change them and adjust them. So I set some goals at the beginning of the year, but as I'm going through the year, things are changing, and I'm also reviewing them, like, let's say once a month.
Hmm.
And it does two things to me. First one is that when I see that I'm on track and that I've really achieved something that I planned to achieve at the beginning of the year, it gives me this feeling of accomplishment that I wouldn't have if I didn't write it down back then.
Hmm.
And it was just in my head, and it would be like, okay, like I wanted to do that, but there is really no proof of me wanting to do that. So now I can check on my list. And another thing is that I can have this stop, this moment where I can look at the list and ask myself, like, is this still valid? Is it still aligned with what I want to do? Like, maybe something changed in my life. Maybe I would like to go in a little bit different direction. Maybe I learned something new. Maybe I met someone and some interesting opportunity came up.
That's so nice. I think the level of clarity I think you got after going through that process of self introspection and self reflection. I think everybody needs to do that. Everybody is carrying something very quietly in their life. And there's this voice that, like, do I even know enough? So, how do you deal with that imposter syndrome even now? Like, is there any change after you had the conversations, after all the self reflection? How do you deal with that especially when you are at such high stakes roles as well? How do you deal with imposter syndrome in your professional life?
Yeah, it is still in my head. Maybe not very often, but still every now and then, especially if I'm in some very strategic project that is very important. And then I'm doing something for the fifth time, for example. Like, it's not the first time I'm running this kind of project, but I'm still like questioning myself. Do I even know what I'm doing? And then I'm looking back at this like structure I provided myself, and then I'm in the process. And sometimes I have these moments where I'm like, oh my God, am I on track? Am I doing what I need to do? Will I manage to deliver that on time? And that is so helpful. That makes me feel like, yes, I know what I'm doing. Another thing that helps me stay sane and have this like reality check are peer calls. So I'm meeting with other PMMs and also with PMMs that are also in leadership roles or in consultant roles. And we discuss many different things. And then turns out that we all have very similar problems, challenges. And it makes me feel like I'm not crazy. It's not something I just imagined. Like, other people also struggle with that. And then we can help each other. And we also discussed about the fact that I feel that product marketing community is very supportive, extremely supportive, I would even say.
Yeah.
It never happened to me that I would reach out to someone, ask them for advice or to have a call to discuss something, and they would say no. They're always extremely eager to help and like share whatever resources they have to help out. So that's also very helpful. And I just try to kind of talk to myself sometimes in the way that I say, like, you know what you're doing. You need to believe in yourself. Kind of like motivational speech that you would give to a child, but I'm doing it to myself. Like, you've got this. Like, you know what you're doing. And I know that it may sound like, oh, like another motivational speaker
Mhm.
talking some BS, but it's really helpful for me. like how I think about myself, and what I say to myself sets how I feel when I'm working with other people. And at the same time, I accept that I don't have to know everything. And it's okay if I don't know something, and it's okay if I make a mistake, and that I can learn. Um, and that's just fine. I don't have to be perfect. I'm far from perfect, and this is okay. And this is something I struggled with in the past, that I felt like, I need to absolutely know everything about anything. So I was always scared of the moment that somebody would ask me a question and my answer would be, I don't know. And now I'm fine with it. I can say, I don't know, but I will find out. And
Exactly.
that's also helping me that, we are all in the process of something. Like, we are all living life for the first time, but we behave like we are doing it, for the 50th time. I know that it also depends on what people believe in, and that some people believe that you can have many lives. And I hope it's true, because it would be cool to have another life, maybe in some different shape or form. But at the same time, there are not many things that we are doing every day, all the time, and it's just becoming so easy and intuitive, like brushing your teeth. I'm still learning new things even about brushing teeth every now and then. So I think it's good to give yourself this permission that
Exactly.
I'm just still learning. I'm just
Right.
still in the process, and
Yes.
that's okay. Like, I don't need to be some superhero.
So I want to move on to one last topic for the day, but we know that as women in tech, we do often feel the pressure to always prove our value, to be on top of our game, and just show up all the time. So what has helped you own your voice and bring your value to the table?
I think that this is something that comes with age and experience, perhaps, because I struggled with that a lot when I was younger. And also maybe because I was younger, so I was also treated in a different way. Younger, less experienced, so maybe sometimes I wasn't taken seriously, or I heard some stupid jokes that were not connected with my professional abilities at all. And I kind of was quiet about it, so I wouldn't say anything in the moment. And then I just learned to stand up for myself and speak up, not only for myself, but also for other women, other people. I think that it's not only a problem of being a woman in tech world, but minorities in general. And women are a minority in
Yes.
tech world. And now, after like almost 14 years of being in tech world and being constantly in rooms filled with men, but maybe there would be like two other women apart from me, and always also very often being the youngest in the room.
Right.
Like, when I'm part of leadership teams, this happens very often that I'm the youngest in the room. And what I gained with years and with experience is that I just don't feel like I'm different than them, which means that I don't think about the fact that I'm a woman and there are men. I don't think about the fact that I'm younger and there are maybe 10 years older than me, they have more experience. Now I feel like all that matters is what I'm capable of, what I can do, like what I know, what are my abilities, and that needs to speak for itself. But at the same time, I think I am much better at setting boundaries and standing up for myself, for my team, for other people. Like, every time when I see that something that is not okay is happening, I always make sure to speak up and always say something. I don't leave it quiet. I don't behave like, oh, like it was so bad, but I won't say anything. And then I will maybe go to my friends and tell them about it, because that is not changing much. So
True.
I have this feeling, and this is again idealistic vision, that I hope that, especially for my daughter, because I'm a mom of a girl, so I'm also thinking about that, like how the world is changing for her as well. So I hope that by the time she will be working and she will be in some professional role that most probably we don't even know about now, because
Exactly.
it's changing so fast, but that she will be in the rooms with people, which means that there will be no discussion about whether you're a man or a woman, or maybe you identify as some other gender. and that is influencing your professional abilities, I hope that there will be no discussion about that. I hope that there will be no filter that would say that, oh, like she should make less money because she's a woman, or he probably knows more because he's a white man. I hope that this bias will disappear, hopefully. And
I hope so too, yeah.
there is more and more women and girls in more like tech positions, and it's only going to be happening this way, that we are not going back to the place where it was dominated by men only. So it's also going to be better in my opinion. But again, I had a very similar conversation yesterday about like place of like how is it to be a woman in the tech world, and that there are some motions like companies have to hire 20% of females for managerial positions, for example. And I feel like in some cases that's probably needed, and in other way it wouldn't happen at all. But I wish that it wouldn't have to be forced, that people would be hired for being good professionals at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Without this bias, not because they have to hire women, for example, or they have to hire men because they have some bias against it. So let's hope for this version of the future.
Absolutely. I think there's so much power in hearing someone talk about the in betweens, the doubts, and the things that are not always the success stories, but something that's always the grunt work, the background work. So before we wrap, any final words you'd want to leave listeners with who might be right in the middle of figuring out themselves?
Yes, I would say that you don't need to have all the answers now. Sometimes you just need to give it a little bit more time, and also don't compare yourself to other people because you absolutely know nothing about them. And maybe you are comparing your situation to situation of somebody else that is totally different than yours.
Right.
And I have this anecdote here that I went to my yoga session not long ago, and I couldn't go with my group. So I went with another group, and it happened that it was a beginner's group. And I've been going for yoga for a few years now. And we're learning how to do a lotus position. So you have to like wrap your legs around. It's a difficult position. And I was the only person from the group that was able to do that position. And they looked at me and they were like, oh, like they felt bad about themselves that they couldn't do it. And I told them, like it's unfair that you are comparing yourself to me because first of all, I'm hypermobile, which means that my joints are very flexible just since ever.
Yeah.
So very easy for me. I didn't have to put a lot of effort into learning this position. And another thing is that I'm not a beginner like you are. I just couldn't go with my group. And that showed me that there is so much you don't know. So just try to trust yourself. And if you feel that this is something good for you, then it means it's good for you. Because you are the only person who's going to live your life.
Exactly.
Nobody else is going to take consequences of your choices and decisions for you. And you are the only person at the same time who owns your timeline. There is no universal timeline for things. For when you should, earn some amount of money, when you should get some title, when you should, build something, when you should have kids, and so on. Like it's only up to you. Like whatever you put on your timeline, that feels right and is aligned with you, your values, it's fine. It doesn't matter like what other timelines look like.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Daria, for today, for being so real and raw about all the conversations we had. And I hope the world is a better place for the generations to come. But we'll keep hoping, presenting the best examples that we can for them to believe that the world is kinder. So that's a wrap for today. And hey, if this episode helped you in any way, go share it, follow Daria on LinkedIn and rate this show. Send it to a marketer who's ready to break the mold. That's me, Shruti, signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.